Why is the blinds closed?
He says he's good.
Good. All right. I'm going to go ahead and call our Sherwood City Council regular meeting to order, October 1st, 2024. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Rosner.
Here.
Council President Young.
Here.
Councilor Browse.
Here.
Councilor Mays.
Here.
Councilor Scott.
Here.
Councilor Giles.
Here.
Councilor Stankey.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Looks like we're all here. Do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have two items. Item A is approval of the September 17th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. And item B is Resolution 2024-066, authorizing the city manager to sign a contract with Kittleson and Associates for the Transportation System Plan Update Project.
I move consent.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. Citizen comments. Awesome.
Harry, just give your sheet to this lady here and she'll pass it along.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, we have, looks like we have three folks for citizen comments. I'm very excited about that because normally we don't have a lot of citizen comments, so this is amazing. Yeah,
We have a short meeting, so.
yeah. This is
Anybody else
perfect.
want to fill one out? They're on the back.
Yeah, go for it. So yeah, for citizen comments, we allow 4 minutes of testimony, and when I call your name, you'll come up here, and there's a little microphone there. We'll help you get that turned on. And as soon as you start, and we'll just have you give your name and the city you live in. You don't have to give your address out over the air because we have that on the form. So the first person, I'll go in the order I got him, is Maria Berglund.
Hey.
Did you want to go second?
Yes, I did want to go second, but that's okay. I'll just get it over with. This is fine. Do I stand?
No, you can sit down.
Whatever you feel comfortable.
Okay. Well, I would like to not have to do it at all.
Bring the microphone close to you, Sarah.
Okay.
There you go.
Do I turn it? Push it, or can you hear me?
You're good to go.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Maria Berkland, and I'm here to speak to you today as a concerned parent of Sherwood, Oregon. I live in Sherwood. In regards to the crosswalk in front of Archer Glen Elementary and the increasing concern over the safety of Sherwood children, families, and staff who cross there. Sunset is known to be a very busy road, but since we've been back to school this fall, there has been an increase in aggressive behavior from drivers trying to rush through the crosswalk as the crossing guard is waving her sign for vehicles to stop from the side of the crosswalk, and while she is actively in the road with her high visibility vest on and stop sign raised. And you might be thinking, well, this is very hard to see as the sun is coming up over the hill by Snyder Park, and yes, that's true. But what is the excuse for drivers that pick up in the afternoon? We've literally had drivers lean out of their vehicle and basically yell at the crossing guard, "I couldn't see you," as they keep driving through the crosswalk. My point here is that I have seen enough dangerous activity from drivers on my daily walks to and from school and on evenings and weekends when my kids ask to go and play at Archer Glen to know that we need to do something more to protect the people crossing there. So let's talk about Archer Glen safety versus that of other schools. Hawksview Elementary, on Sherwood Boulevard has off-hours speed limit of 25 miles an hour, with a cement island in the center of the road, which includes signage and a flashing light. And the former Hopkins Elementary, now the district office, has pedestrian-controlled light to stop traffic when needed. In case you aren't aware, Archer Glen is the only elementary school in Sherwood that is set on a road with an off-hour speed limit of 35. The road was recently repaved in front of the school, and with that, we lost signage that was placed in the center of the crosswalk, although that signage was often damaged anyways. Archer Glen might be our smallest elementary school, but nearly all families live within walking boundaries, making the crossing leading to Archer Glen extremely busy. So what can we do? After appealing to Traffic and Safety Committee this summer and speaking to other concerned parents in our area and to Archer Glen staff, here are 4 suggestions that we've come up with. Put in a cement island in the middle of the road and bulb outs at each side of the crosswalk to make the actual crossing shorter, because Sunset is quite wide. Reduce the overall speed of Sunset to 25 miles per hour. Let's make it less attractive for people to use it as a cut-through to other destinations. 3, place speed humps in front of Archer Glen. This would calm traffic, but emergency vehicles would still be able to maintain speed. And there's possible environmental grants we could apply for if we use recycled rubber for those. The other is to add lighting so pedestrians are more visible when waiting to cross in the mornings and after dusk. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Should I go? Am I done? Thank you.
So can I say something?
Yeah, those are some great ideas.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so we don't have a conversation back and forth, but we can talk out after you. And I've been in communication with Maria and other parents who've reached out to me and probably some other counselors as well about that. And I drove through because I drive that way often, but I just paid more attention this past couple weeks, and there was concern, that there's a mailbox in the way, and I actually, while it's in the way, that is not the problem that Maria is talking about, and I think we really just need to address this.
I think we need to have, it's probably overdue. We've done it before, but we probably need to have a work session on school crossing safety for all of our schools. And just let's review what we have. Let's review what our options are. And
I mean, I know we have a safety committee that's doing that, but we can always funnel something through them from our conversation.
I'd rather us take the lead on this. I think it's too important. No offense to the committee, but
But I think we also, didn't we approved something over by the Middleton crossing on,
On Sunset where Middleton comes down, I
Right.
can't remember the name of that road.
Tim Brown.
We've got some matching funds from Washington County, and we're going after Safe Routes to School grants to do some improvements over there. But I agree. I've been through there. It's a challenge. We have a lot of cut-through traffic, especially with the construction going on 12th and Sherwood and 99. So I think the will of council is more than happy to take a closer look. Did you want to add?
So if concerns or complaints that were made to the Traffic Safety Committee, has the Traffic Safety Committee not created a recommendation or a response to send back up to the council, to staff? If there is, can we get a copy of it?
You bet, Counselor. I just was talking to the chief that we need to look and see about the Traffic Safety Committee, any of their notes on that. So as far as the mailbox, I believe we just received permission to be able to relocate the mailbox. I know this is something separate.
Yeah, I mean, that's important as well, but that's one component.
I will also find out if the actual signs the pedestrian crossing signs that were out there, I know they were getting hit, but we'll look into some of those if it's going to be installed back after the project here.
I'd love to just have time where we can sit down and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a bigger part of the whole Safe Routes to School program too, that we've applied for the grant that the mayor mentioned, in partnering longer term with the schools like we did that project.
So Maria actually had a minute left on the clock. Could we ask her? I think there's something else you want to say, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yes, so Traffic and Safety Committee has spoken about it 2 times, because the first time when I applied for them to do more was at the end of the school year, and had nothing to do with the mailbox. The mailbox has become this big thing, but it's neither here nor there. The crosswalk itself and having those signs at least was more of like a visual, hey, let's draw attention to this. Now we don't even have that. We just have the painted lines. But they've spoken about it twice, the Traffic and Safety Committee, in August and in September. And Tiffany and Jason Wirtz, who are on that committee, I've spoken to both of them at length about it, and so they have discussed it. And the bulb outs and the island in the center was kind of like the main thing that they thought of, just to make the crossing shorter, and then to have it look more like visually like you are aware that there's something there. Yeah.
So I think it'd be great to get the notes from Traffic Safety Council can get in on the conversation as well.
I drive it every day, and I also
Thank
would
you.
like to thank I've noticed the last week and a half, there's been 2 officers there in the morning, and I hope that, I mean, I know, I don't want to tell on myself, but I know I slow down every time I see police officers waiting, and so, and so hopefully that continues, so thank your officers for that.
Yeah, well, thank you, Council, and thank you so much for coming in tonight. Yeah, and Craig, and we can take this offline, but I also want to make sure that the Traffic Committee feels empowered to raise issues up when they become important like this, because that's really important, especially with their role.
They don't have the authority to do anything, per se,
But
but when they get something like this that is potential, costs a couple bucks, and that needs the council to weigh in and have staff weigh in, let's hear about it. And as I've said years before, the greatest pedestrian crossing is a signalized light.
That's what I want to talk about, all those things.
Yeah.
We changed it so they're not a subcommittee of the Police Advisory Committee anymore, right?
Yeah, currently
I thought
they
we were
still
talking
are.
about fixing
We have,
that.
we just haven't done that.
We need to.
We need to get to that, and I know what you meant by they don't have authority. They do have authority to make suggestions and recommendations.
Right.
Yeah, and they just
We need to remove the extra step.
We need to remove some steps. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you, and thank you again for coming in. Appreciate it. All right, we have 2 more, and let's see, Rand Yen.
Oh, come on up.
You don't have to.
Just tell
Have them. They can come together.
You can
You
come
come up
together.
You want to come up together?
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah, there you go.
Moral
The mayor is
support for
really
your
mean,
friends.
and I apologize in advance.
We don't bite.
Don't be nervous.
We'll beat him up if he gets mean, yes.
So push the button until it turns green. Just push and hold.
Hard.
I think that one's supposed to be red.
No,
that's
it's back to the old one again.
Oh, okay.
So Rand, did I get that right? Yeah. Yeah, and Lanton?
Landon Bauman.
Landon. Oh, Landon. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming tonight. So since you're both there, we'll give you 8 minutes, but we'll divide it up 4 and 4. But
You can use as much or as little as that time
That's
as you
right.
want.
that's right. But thanks for coming today, and go ahead.
Yeah, of course. My name's Landon Bauman. I'm a resident here in Sherwood. I go to SMS. We recently had Mr. Giles come in and talk about food trucks coming to Portland Sherwood as a possibility. And he came in last year. I was in civics class last year where we talk about how our government is ran and everything. But when he recently came in last week, he talked about the zoning and different places that food trucks could possibly go into. And I was just going to suggest some places that I think would possibly be great. I would like to bring up that near the high school, if we could, would be great for our high school students wouldn't have to drive or walk across during their free period to get food. Instead, they could just walk over to a food truck pod and get food, not risking car crashes or any other fatalities. I also like the idea of having an Old Town because we could also bring more people in, and more people would allow more vendors that own shops in Old Town to make money off of other people, because once people buy food, they're going to want to mosey around the city a little bit and see what else is around. I'll let Rand talk.
Well done.
Basically, we recently just moved here to Sherwood, and I think that I've wanted to start a business for some time now, and I think that it would be good if we give a chance for more people to start smaller businesses, and a proposal is that we can perhaps have more like farmers market sort of thing, like all year round, except instead of just having them for a certain period of time and then not having it for the winter. So yeah, that's it.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. Appreciate it. Did you know that we just recently passed an ordinance allowing food trucks?
We're past it for next week.
We have a second reading in 2 weeks for that.
Yeah, we
and
came in today because it got canceled.
Got postponed
It
till
got
2 weeks.
postponed
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, so we were hoping that we'd be able to read it in tonight and they'd be able to celebrate, but because they gave us, I'll just say, their class was very informative. We had a pro and con list of everything and what the benefits and attractions, and they were very helpful, very insightful, and very engaged. And their teacher here is Cassandra's in the back here, and does a phenomenal job with that class. And I love the idea of a small business incubator. That's something that I'll definitely bring to our Chamber of Commerce as well, because I think that having an area for high schoolers, we've had some high schoolers that have literally started businesses that they're working in now that are, I don't know if you've seen the socks that were produced by,
Swag.
yeah.
His mom and dad now work for him, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's totally possible. So we want to encourage that in Sherwood. So thank you very much for the comments.
And I like your idea about the farmer's market, and this isn't an official project yet, but one of the ideas that I've been kicking around is we need a covered area so we can have farmer's market when it's raining, right? And it's part of the challenge of living in Oregon. It's hard to do stuff outside in the wintertime. So great ideas. Thanks for coming in.
You guys did a great job.
Well done.
Guys,
For the time. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Good job, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Love that.
That was amazing. Pass those back down to Sylvia. All right, so we have one item on new business tonight. We have Resolution 2024-065 authorizing the mayor to modify the Sherwood West UGB expansion application to mixed employment and hospitality land only. Eric.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor Rosener, City Councilors. Have a really brief presentation on this resolution. Tonight, we talked a little bit about it in the work session. It would authorize the mayor to modify the Sherwood West expansion proposal to include only industrial and hospitality land. And just a brief sort of logic behind that, we went through an over 2-year planning process with the Sherwood community. We had a citizens advisory committee. It went through planning commission and also city council. All of those residents and businesses and stakeholders provided really direct input on what Sherwood West should look like, including the housing metrics for Sherwood West that were really compatible with Sherwood, but also met our housing needs. And so the plan called for an average density of about 9 units per acre, or about roughly 3,000 new homes. Recently, the Metro COO made a recommendation that the Metro Council adopt the baseline forecast for growth, and that would show a need for additional land outside the UGB for between about 1,000 to 5,300 new units. That's right in line with what we are proposing. So there's a match between what Sherwood's concept plan proposes and what the baseline forecast shows for needed housing in the region outside the urban growth boundary. As we know, there are some discussions and other sort of outside interest groups that are hoping to change the Sherwood West proposal. And so there's been some talk about a potential condition of approval to require a higher density than 9.2 units per acre. Of course, that has not been developed in consultation with the Sherwood community and the Sherwood City Council. There's also some talk about affordability conditions of approval. And while we absolutely support additional housing, more housing options for Sherwood residents and those wanting to move here, the type of conditions that are being discussed right now would very likely actually have the opposite effect and delay housing production. We need to be really mindful about sort of over regulation of housing that may lead to unintended consequences. And then the last, there are other conditions being tossed around that would just change the outcome of the plan and the vision that the Sherwood community set. And so those types of conditions would also not be supported by the city council. And the best way to summarize it is in bold there, maybe in the best interest of the city of Sherwood and the Sherwood community to modify the UGB expansion if the vision of the concept plan cannot be achieved. And so this would be the two areas, the map on the right there. We do a mixed employment zone, about 277 acres, and then about an 80-acre hospitality zone in the south. It would not change the baseline concept plan. So in the future, should the city council decide to do a UGB expansion in the future, we'd still, utilize the sort of base concept plan that we're working off of. And so again, this would authorize the mayor to modify the Sherwood West UGB expansion if the conditions of approval are likely to result in a substantial change to the vision set by the Sherwood community for the concept plan. We did include updated infrastructure financing plan as well as Title 11 findings so that the modified proposal can actually stand and for defensibility on a potential appeal. And that concludes the presentation. Happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. And if I could just add, for those watching out there, our current density runs between 7 and 8 when you look units per acre citywide. The 9.2 that you keep hearing talked about is what a potential final build out could look like. So we're trying to, estimate. We know what our planning zones ranges are, which range from about 6.3 to 9.2, but developers will tend to maximize that. So we're trying to plan this in a way that we get to an outcome that's compatible with Sherwood. As Eric mentioned, there are groups, special interest groups. There are other agencies like the City of Portland and Multnomah County that for some reason think we should go to really high densities. We're not interested in that. So part of the reason for this resolution, this is a metro decision. Our course of action, if we don't like the direction it's going, we can pull our ask. So there was a resolution last meeting, and this resolution just gives me the authority to pull it without having to, if we get down to the 11th hour and there's not time to get a meeting together, I can get it pulled in time before anything's approved. But they try to approve something that we don't like. So that's the content.
Last time was for pulling it. This time is for modifying it.
This one's for modifying. The
Yeah.
last one was for pulling it. Hopefully we can just get to an agreement with Metro on this. As I've been saying for a long time, if we don't plan for this, it'll get planned for us. There's been a lot of work in Salem in the last 3 or 4, or last 2 long sessions and 2 short sessions where they've been preempting a lot of local control over planning and even annexation. So part of the reason we're doing this is to get, at least in my opinion, is to get ahead of this, get it planned, hopefully get it grandfathered in before we have other people making decisions for us about how we grow. So, Councilor Mays.
Move to approve resolution 2024-065.
Second?
Any other discussion on the motion?
No, just like last week, I think this is a great emergency tool that hopefully we don't need because I love our concept plan and I hope it goes forward.
Any other discussion?
We've established what order we want these in. First is as is. Second is modified. Third is pulled.
Yeah, it's going to be dependent on what the conditions are. But as I've already committed to everyone on council, if there's time to have a meeting, we'll have a meeting to discuss it. Yeah,
great.
So.
I think this is a great tool, and I would just like to say to Portland and Multnomah, plan your own communities, stay out of ours.
Awesome. Thank you.
I second that motion.
You said we already have a motion on the table. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving resolution 2024-065, authorizing the mayor to modify the Sherwood West UGB expansion application to mixed employment and hospitality land only, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, council. All right, city manager report. Greg, how are things going?
Everything seems to be going good, Mayor.
Okay.
I see Bruce left, but I just wanted to let everybody know that his last day is Friday. He's worked for the city for 5 years, and his retirement party is October 3rd, Thursday night from 3 to 5 at the Arts Center. I just want to thank Bruce for the great work he's done over the 5 years. I've had the opportunity to work with him as the Public Works Director in the last, since the end of November as the city manager, and he has done wonderful things for this city, and whoever our next Economic Development Director we hire will be set up for success with the work Bruce has done. So I'd like to thank him for his service.
You're here.
Any questions for myself or the staff that's here? That's all I got tonight.
I thought I saw something, coffee with a cop?
Tomorrow.
8 a.m. All right. 8 till 10?
Yep, we'll be there.
All right. I'll try to make it. If I get up on time. You don't want to end up on Crimey Chronicles?
I don't want to be on Crimey Chronicles. No way.
If you haven't been to Coffee with a Cop, it's a lot of fun. A lot of our officers will be there. I'm sure our puppy will be there too. All dogs are puppies to me, so. Miss B.
Yeah.
She's in training. Oh, darn. She's working. Well, that's too bad. Yeah.
Earn those bones.
Awesome. Yes.
So, last week you went to national conference.
We did attend the International City Managers Conference, Kristen, myself, and a lot of conversation on AIs and how we're using AI in cities to do staff reports from the planning side. A lot of AIs for scope of works for contracts, scope of works for bidding process. So we're definitely be looking to see how we can bring some of that stuff to the city. A lot of other great conferences, track sessions on management of city, as well as some great programs that other cities around the country has started. So it was a great course. Thanks for bringing that up. But yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Any other questions for Craig or any of the other staff? Awesome. We'll move right into council announcements. I think I started down there last time, so Taylor, you're up.
I haven't had any city meetings since the last one, and we reported out on our metro meetings in the work session, so go back and look at those if you'd like. I would say I am thrilled that the 8th grade civics class, I was able to talk with them and that they came today. Frankly, I wish I would have understood city government better in my youth, because not only is it great to get involved where you can make a difference, but there's even, and you can talk to Eric about this after, but there's jobs that you can have in the city that are not just like city manager. There's people who play Civ Cities, or city skylines and stuff for a job. They figure out how our city works and how it looks and all the other stuff, and it's really amazing to see the youth. So thank you for coming, and look forward to reading in the food court or the food pod code next week. You can watch it on YouTube. You don't have to come again, but we'd love to have you if you're here. That's it for me. In 2 weeks. Yeah, sorry, 15th.
Awesome. Thank you, Renee.
Yes, I attended the Housing Advisory Committee last week, and you might recall there were some listening sessions that took place with the Housing Committee several months ago, and from that, a comprehensive plan has been developed, and it's actually pretty. Have you seen it? It's pretty decent. They've done a really good job with it. I'm going to dive deeper into it, but I think you'd enjoy it as well. Okay. So that was interesting. I will be attending the Water Consortium meeting next Wednesday. I guess I'm the chair of that committee now.
Was that a surprise?
Missed a meeting.
So so I'll be leading my first Water Consortium meeting next week. Sherwood Rotary, we will be hosting the Sherwood Wine Festival. That'll be the 2nd of November at the Red Berry Barn. This is an opportunity for us to raise funds that go back and support our community, and we do a lot of youth work in particular. That's one of our strong suits, is making sure that we're supporting our youth in our community. Chamber, there are some events coming up. Next Tuesday is the breakfast at the Springs. There are 2 ribbon cuttings or mixers coming up. Carta Wine ribbon cutting on October 11th, And then there's a meeting at the Blakesley Winery on the 24th. So these are both evening events. And Senior Center needs drivers. So if any volunteers out there, specifically during the lunch, they need help with the driving. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Mays, Councilor Mays.
Cultural arts didn't happen. We didn't have a quorum. We had a WACA 911 meeting, fairly straightforward. Staffing is continuing to grow, improve, which is great. Just got back from a trip, business-wise. San Antonio Airport, not bad. LA, my God, help us all.
We get airport review every time.
Yeah, this time. And then Portland. All right. Most people know my opinion of Portland. So, anyways, it's great to be home in Sherwood.
The Parks Board will meet next Monday at 7 p.m. in this room here. So I will be there with the Parks Board. Excited to report on whatever happens there when we come back in 2 weeks. Following up on something Kim said earlier, the city of Portland and Multnomah County both have lower average density than the city of Sherwood, I believe. Isn't that correct, Mr. Mayor?
If you include industrial,
Yeah.
that's correct.
So if they want to solve our density and housing problem, like you said, they have lots of space they can fill in and do so. Yeah, so Parks Board next week's pretty much it for me, and yeah, thanks.
Awesome, thank you, Dan.
The Planning Commission met last week and they approved LU 2024-009, which was the site plan and conditional use permit for the Sherwood Commerce Center Phase 2. It'll be buildings D, E, and F, which is in the Tonkin employment area when you're driving from Oregon Street. They've graded the new area, essentially. It'll be just south of what's already built, and it'll be essentially a clone of what is already there. So same look, and then there'll be an additional building potentially that the Planning Commission will review next week. But yeah, that was passed, and so that'll start development for that, and that's all I have for this week.
Awesome. Yeah, go for it.
Just want to touch on Bruce. I remember when we were having conversations about potentially funding that position, several years before it happened, and we were kind of like, I don't know, is this going to work out? That was the home run of home runs. The development that I think has happened here because of Bruce that would not have happened. I think there's a lot of that, and I think there's stuff that's probably accelerated because he's been here, and we probably got to a better use in a lot of cases. He's just been a tremendous asset to the city and the community, and probably an unsung hero to most of the people out there. And I think credit to everyone on staff who's obviously supported him and helped him. He hasn't done it alone, but great work, and I'm so glad that we kind of signed off on that move because it was obviously a great decision, and it's probably paid for himself many times over.
Oh, for sure. And I would just add on that real quick that, Bruce really defined what a good economic development manager should be doing. Just about every government agency in the whole region was very jealous of us and the fact that we had Bruce. He did an amazing job, and I'm sure he's still going to do amazing things. He says he's retiring. We'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to add that as well.
I know I have his cell number.
Yeah. Kim.
Yeah, I remember when we approved that position, when we approved it, I think it was economic development, it wasn't the manager position, but it was 2-year limited duration. And our instructions for hiring were somebody who was already experienced, like nobody that we needed to train, somebody who needed, and boy, did we win the lottery when we got Bruce. And I just call him the Energizer Bunny. I think that guy never sleeps. If you've ever gotten an email at 3 in the morning, people, everybody?
I got those.
He never sleeps. But anyways, it's a bittersweet. There's huge shoes to fill. I know he's leaving tremendous notes, and he's a phone call away, he always says. And so, he'll leave us in good hands, but he will be hard to replace. As far as me, I haven't had any of my assignment meetings since the last council meeting. I have Monday, Region 1 Area Committee on Transportation, and then coming up will be Police Advisory Board. But as a member of the Sherwood Police Foundation, there's a couple things that the foundation has done for our department lately. One of them was we purchased a canine kennel for Miss B that can be moved from different cars, so that if her handler needed to take her to doctor in his personal vehicle or whatever. Anyway, so just so that was called canine kennel thing that you can move around. Yeah. And then also the foundation has purchased 2 sheds, for better or worse, but they're little mini houses. They'll be drywalled and electricity and all that. One is, we now have officers who are new moms who need a place to nurse, to just a private place. So those, I think, are they in? I haven't been to the back. They've been installed, and yeah. So a little bit extra space for the PD in their back lot to have two separate spaces. So that's huge. That's from funds that our community has helped us raise through our mainly our gala that raises good money each year. So that's a big thank you to the community for helping us raise those funds and spend them wisely to help our department. I think that's it.
Awesome.
Oh, I did want to say welcome to Jason Fields. He's in the audience. He's one of our, he's running for House District 26, state representative.
Welcome, Jason. Guess it's my turn. So in terms of mayor stuff, my life has been consumed by this UGB expansion process. So I've been spending quite a bit of time working with regional leaders, regional groups, the Metro Council, Metro staff, county, even the governor's office a little bit, just trying to steer that and make sure we get to an outcome that we can accept as a community. It shouldn't be this hard, but it is. So that's been a lot of my time. Last week, I did go to Washington, D.C. I met with Senator Wyden's and Merkley's offices and Representative Salinas, and the goal of that trip was asking for money. Earmarks. Earmarks are back. They don't like calling them earmarks in DC, but it is a tool that cities use to get money back to their community. We have some significant infrastructure projects in terms of sewer, especially in our downtown core, that we need money for. So we spent some time with them just walking through those problems and challenges and building the case. And it's one of those things, if you don't ask, you won't get the money. So we make a couple trips a year to do that. We have some consultants we work with who do an amazing job. So hopefully next year we'll have something. We'll see. These trips, over the last 5 years, I think we've brought back about $4 million, if I remember correctly, from the federal government and funding for the city for various projects, broadband, Ice Age Drive.
Does that count?
Oh, and then we also got an EPA grant for $5 million to clean up the old tannery site. And so these trips also help secure those grants and that type of work. So it's an interesting time in Washington, D.C. right now. It's kind of interesting to see all that going on. I also spent one day in meetings with the FCC. You probably are going, well, why are we talking to the FCC? Well, I sit on the Intergovernmental Advisory Council for the FCC. So it's mayors and state and county leaders from around the country. And we advise the commission on things that are important for cities. So things like, you may not know this, but several years ago, they preempted local control on cell phone siting of cell phone towers and stuff like that. So there are a lot of issues that they're taking up that are important to us. And it's actually really awesome. There's only 28 people on that committee, so it's really awesome that we have that voice, a little Sherwood, which is amazing. So I spent some time doing that. The MPAC meeting, which we already talked about in the work session, I won't go into that again. The mayors of Washington County met with Washington County commissioners to talk about MISTIP, the Major Street Transportation Improvement Plan. For those that don't know, back in, what was the late 90s?
Yep.
In the late 90s, the voters passed a levy that raises money for transportation projects in the county. So road improvements, and these are really focused on county roads. In fact, recently we we're in the queue to get $14 million for improvements on Edie Road, to improve safety on Edie Road. That's part of that program. In the last 2 budget cycle, the county commissioners have been, I'm going to use this word, they hate it, but they've been rating that fund for general fund expenses. So the mayors have been having some conversations with the county commissioners about that they need to preserve those funds for transportation projects in the county. So we had that meeting yesterday. That was an interesting meeting. And there's a lot going on with solid waste in Metro that I've been working on. And then one last thing, the fun thing, for those of you who live in Sherwood, Pirates of Pinehurst is starting up. If you don't know, I live on that street. It's one of my houses is involved in that, and our first shows start on October 3rd, this Thursday. So come out and enjoy the Halloween festivities. So that's all I got. Anything else for the good of the order? With that,
Well, I think you may have undersold it. For the family that just moved in, take your family to this. It's a very fun family activity. It's a whole pirate show that has animatronics and flames and lasers and stuff, and it's all free on the street.
There's no lasers or fire.
There's flame. I've seen flame there. Maybe it's
The
fake flame.
the insurance-
Sorry,
It's
smoke.
fake
There's
flame.
smoke.
And
There's a treasure hunt that goes along with it.
It's kids
It's a lot of
safe.
fun. It's
Very
very
kid
kid
safe.
safe.
Kids
Yeah.
safe.
But it's
And
very
it's
fun. It's
free.
called Pirates of Pinehurst, and it's free. You can look it up on Instagram.
Well,
and
so if you go to piratesofpinehurst.org, there's a website. There's a community coin hunt, because we asked the kids to go recover our lost gold that was stolen, and if the kids bring back one of those gold coins, they get a special prize on Halloween night. So
Yeah.
You can follow the website or Instagram, gives updates.
it's really fun.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Thank you for that. Maybe a little bit, but all right. Well, with that, I think we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.